Imagine being a kid. You trust your dad completely. He reads books with you, lets the family dog sleep right next to your bed, and smiles gently whenever he tells visitors how proud he is of you. Then one day, he calls you down into his lab. The room smells thick, like chemicals and cold metal. There's a weird tension in his voice, a desperate, quiet panic in his eyes. And the next time anyone sees you, you aren't human anymore. You're a crying, mangled creature fused together with your own pet, begging for help in a broken human voice. Now stop for a second, because this isn't just body horror, it's actually much worse. Shou Tucker didn't do this out of rage. He didn't snap or lose control in a fit of madness. He calmly, systematically sacrificed his own daughter to save his career. And here's the terrifying part. He still believed he was being completely rational. To him, the experiment mattered more than the child. Progress justified the cost. And that's the heavy question Shou Tucker forces us to face. This is Beyond the Villain, where we unmask evil, one story at a time. Tonight we are kicking off a brand new chapter, Arc 11, the dehumanization of man. And we're starting with a villain who didn't try to conquer the world through cosmic strength, but through a quiet household collapse of basic empathy. From Hiromu Arakawa's masterpiece, Fullmetal Alchemist, we're pulling back the curtain on the sewing life alchemist, Shou Tucker. A man who transformed a father's love into raw material. And this is the second Fullmetal Alchemist villain we unmask. You can check out my video for the philosophy of King Bradley. Shou Tucker is the absolute logical extreme of scientific detachment. He shows us exactly what happens when personal achievement and a utilitarian mindset completely swallow human dignity. He isn't evil because he hates people. He's evil because he stopped seeing them as people in the first place. Before we begin, if you want to support Beyond the Villain, you can check out my Patreon or buy me a coffee. Links are in the description below. Now let's begin the unmasking. The most unsettling thing about Shou Tucker is that he doesn't look like a monster. He doesn't wear dark armor, he doesn't scream threats, and he doesn't have a sinister laugh. Real-world dehumanization rarely arrives with a warning label. Usually, it looks polite, educated, and completely unassuming. It looks like a quiet father making tea while talking about his research papers. When Edward and Alphonse Elric first walk into Tucker's house, he feels completely harmless. He's awkward, soft-spoken, and living alone with his little girl Nina and their massive dog, Alexander. The house feels warm, safe, and entirely normal. But underneath that quiet domestic life is a man drowning in fear. Tucker is facing professional ruin. Years ago, he became famous for creating a talking chimera, earning the prestigious title of State Alchemist. But the truth eventually bleeds out. That original chimera was his own wife. He had already crossed the line once to get his status. Now, his research is failing again. His certification is up for annual review, and his entire career is about to collapse. And right here is where Tucker becomes terrifyingly human. The rationalization. He convinces himself that scientific breakthroughs require hard choices. He looks at his daughter and his dog, and his brain stops seeing a family. It starts seeing components. A solution to a math problem. When Nina's transformed body finally stumbles into the light, crying out Ed's name, the illusion shatters completely. It's not just the visual horror that sticks with you for decades, it's how calmly Tucker explains it. There's no breakdown, no overwhelming guilt. He discusses his daughter's mangled existence like he's explaining a minor setback in a lab report. He didn't see himself as evil. He saw himself as necessary. And once you reduce a human being to an object in your mind, anything you do to them becomes perfectly justifiable. At his core, Shou Tucker lives at the dark end of utilitarianism, the idea that the worth of an action is based entirely on its utility or outcome. In philosophy, maximizing the greater good sounds great on paper. But Tucker represents what happens when you take moral restraint completely out of that equation. To Tucker, Nina's intrinsic value as a human being disappeared the moment his career was threatened. She became a resource to preserve his status. And honestly, this mindset isn't exclusive to fiction. History shows us this exact psychological trap over and over again whenever systems start valuing metrics over humanity. The moment efficiency or progress becomes more important than dignity, people stop being individuals. They become statistics, collateral damage, or overhead costs. Tucker is scientific detachment without an ethical compass. Knowledge and discovery are vital, but progress without a conscience turns into a slaughterhouse, real quick. Tucker's fatal flaw wasn't his intelligence, it was his total emotional disconnection. He separated the act of creation from the human consequence of suffering. Because his evil is so intimate and ordinary, it feels a lot scarcer than a villain wanting to blow up the moon. It's just a father sitting in a quiet room, deciding his ambition is worth more than his child's life. The exact opposite of Tucker's worldview is carried by Edward and Alphonse Elric. Their entire journey is built on a simple truth. Human life cannot be reduced to an equation. This matters immensely because Fullmetal Alchemist constantly plays with the law of equivalent exchange. The idea that to gain something, something of equal value must be lost. The Elric brothers know the pull of obsession. They committed the ultimate alchemical sin by trying to bring back their dead mother, and they paid for it with their own flesh and blood. But that trauma taught them humility. It taught them that some lines are absolute. When they see what Tucker did, Edward beats him to a pulp because he recognizes the dark reflection of his own obsession, stripped of all love and remorse. The Elrics prove that suffering should make you more empathetic, not colder. They represent the boundary line that says no goal, no matter how great, is worth trading your humanity to achieve. We don't have alchemy in the real world, but we have the similar Shou Tucker mindset. Throughout history, horrific crimes against humanity have started with the exact same assumption, that certain people matter less than the greater good of progress. Think about the Tuskegee syphilis study, where hundreds of black men were left untreated for decades, just so researchers could watch the disease track through a human body. Think about the nightmare human experiments inside Nazi camps, or Imperial Japan's Unit 731 during World War II. The scientists running those projects didn't see themselves as cartoon villains. They thought they were serving science, medicine, and the future. Dehumanization doesn't always start with burning hatred. A lot of times, it starts with bureaucratic distance, career ambition, and turning a blind eye to suffering for the sake of results. So let's ask the most uncomfortable question here. Was Shou Tucker evil, or was he just a desperate man responding to pressure the way society secretly trains us to? Fear changes people. The fear of failure, the fear of losing your status, the fear of waking up and realizing you don't matter anymore. Those things eat away at your morality if you aren't paying attention. Tucker was driven by the crushing weight of professional expectation. And here's the scary part. Modern culture constantly tells us to cut out our emotions to get ahead. Grind harder. Sacrifice your relationships for success. Treat people as stepping stones. Stay productive, no matter what it costs you internally. Obviously, most people aren't going to build a chimera in their basement. But that gradual shift where we put achievement above human connection, that lives right under the surface of our daily lives. Tucker is deeply horrifying because his cold logic feels uncomfortably close to the standard pressure of everyday survival. He let his ambition narrow his moral vision until his own family became negotiable. The lesson Tucker leaves behind is that intelligence without empathy is a hazard. Knowledge isn't wisdom, and efficiency isn't justice. The real challenge of life is learning how to chase your goals without losing your soul in the process. It means knowing when your ambition is starting to numb your ability to care. True strength isn't being willing to sacrifice anyone to win. It's having the discipline and the heart to protect your humanity when the pressure to succeed tells you to abandon it. Shou Tucker is the ultimate warning of progress without boundaries. He didn't want to destroy the world. He just didn't care who he had to break to keep his piece of it. The most terrifying monsters don't always come with a roar. Sometimes, they just look at you through a pair of glasses, check their watch, and calmly justify the cruelty. So, what do you think? Is Shou Tucker a complete monster? Or is he a warning about where our own ambitions can lead if we let go of our empathy? This has been Beyond the Villain, where we unmask evil one story at a time. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to get the latest unmasking of every villain and check out my other videos. Thank you for watching, and peace.